I taught my cousin once how to swim.
It can't be that hard.
It's not that hard.
Depends on the method of
It's just
teaching.
the thing.
My personal favorite is the people that don't know how to try to teach other people how to swim. There's like two ways. I'm going to tell you a bunch of shit that you don't understand yet, and then I'm going to throw you into the water, and that's my day. That's how people teach you how to swim. It's fucking retarded.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. I fucking taught someone how to swim in 3 weeks. No biggie.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing.
No, I took them into the water and I like held their hand, like made sure like they made the right moves and bullshit.
The problem is panicking, right? A lot of people panic when they get into water. Like, I mean, I kind of know a little bit on how to swim because I kind of just force myself to get into water and not be afraid. That's the only way to really learn is you have to get rid of that fear. If you have that fear, you're not going to be able to swim because you will struggle underwater and then you'll just like sink. It's like quicksand, right? The more you struggle, the more you sink.
I
also like you have the panicked breathing, so there's like less oxygen in you, and then you like sink down. It's really annoying.
The only reason I can swim is because I loved swimming when I was a kid. And now I hate it. Like now, whenever someone's like, "Let's go swimming," I'm like, "For fuck's sake, I don't want to go swimming. You go do whatever you want. I'm not gonna go swimming."
Well, my apartment has a swimming pool upstairs. I should probably use it.
Swimming pools, they're way too restrictive, I think. And swimming pools are way too small and restrictive. And then, like, when you swim out in the open, you have to, like, apply sunscreen, and or else you get, like, fucking burnt to crisp. And I don't like that either. If there was, like, a way for me to swim outside, without putting on sunscreen, and it was, like, the water wasn't cold as shit, I might swim more often, but yeah, those three are kind of don't go along together.
I don't know, man. I don't use sunscreen when I go into the fucking ocean.
Oh yeah,
it's just getting used to it. It's just getting used to it, man. Like you go out into the ocean. It's gonna take you 2-3 hours, and you're cooked. And you get out of the ocean, and that's your day. You do this a bunch of times. And in less than a year, you're going to be set to go in the ocean as much as you want. No sunscreen. I don't wear sunscreen. Not zero.
I generally just don't like the sun either.
Why? You literally need it. You literally need it. It's
I know you need it. I know you need it, but I just don't like it.
That's great for you. Vitamin D.
Yeah, I know. I know all the benefits. I know all the shit. I just don't like the sun.
Keeps you not depressed. What's wrong with the sun exactly? What's wrong with the sun?
Yeah, what does you hate the sun? I love the sun. I like going outside.
Growing up in the Middle East, the sun was way too fucking warm.
Right, growing up in Asia where it's fucking sticky too. It's the worst.
Yeah. I
hated the sun when I was back in Malaysia.
Exactly.
I like it here. I like it here because like at least the wind here is cool and it's not, I don't feel sweaty when I go outside. In Asia, when you go outside, it doesn't matter if it's like a cloudy day, you're gonna fucking sweat. The humidity kills you because 24 feels like 35.
At this point, I also live in like Western countries, right?
Yeah.
And Western countries, they're not like. This is kind of like an issue that's kind of happening. It's not just Western countries; it's most around the world. But like you leave the house, like it's a bit of like a. You don't know your neighbors. You don't know like the people walking around. Yeah, it's just not enjoyable to be outside.
You can always go to a cafe, get to know the people there.
Yeah, but you're not in the sun then, you're inside.
You're outside.
Here's what you do. Get yourself like a
Walkman or something. The outside cafes are always dog shit.
No, here's what you do. If you want to go outside and take a walk, put on like a fucking Walkman or something, You know, so it looks like Walkman, because it gives a specific aura of crackhead off about you. You just walk around shirtless. Oh, and just for your own POV, right? You have to listen to like a very specific song. You know what I mean?
Can't do that in Rome, by the way. You can't be shirtless in Rome.
See ya in the smoking room.
Isn't that crazy though? I mean, Rome has a no shirtless law.
Wait, what?
Yeah, even men can't go shirtless in Rome. Yeah, it's true.
Bro, are they trying to cock the gladiators? What the hell is that?
I don't know, but yeah, that's a law. That's literally a thing in Rome. I don't know about the rest of Italy, but in Rome you cannot.
What about the beaches?
Beaches are fine.
Okay.
It's just a city.
What's the reasoning behind it?
I don't know. I mean, if I had to guess, I would say it's because maybe they don't want migrants taking off their shirts. I have no idea.
Wow.
Yeah, you can't be shirtless in Rome. I think it's because it's like a historic city or something, you know. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
By the way, Adrian, do you like my Discord account?
What the fuck did you do? Okay, let's take a look. You're getting back at me about my milady thing, huh? Let's take a look at your accounts. Check the name. Finding it. Is it in general, I assume?
Yeah, go to general.
Copious Maximus. You just took my fucking profile picture, put it on, and says Copious Maximus. What the fuck? That is fantastic. Copious Maximus. What the fuck is wrong with you?
By the way, there was literally no way for me to get that profile picture in properly, right? So I tried to I tried to use like several sources to get like the full picture, but every place I was getting, I didn't know. Yeah, so I basically got it from Discord, which was like a low resolution picture, which Discord wouldn't accept. And I had to, using AI, upscale that shit. I used that as the profile picture.
All that just to call yourself Copious Maximus. You think that I'm coping?
Yes.
Holy shit.
I did it to troll you for the milady thing.
So, to troll me on it because you didn't like it, you became it.
Sure, why not?
That's how it works. Yeah, that is fucking funny as shit.
Kobe is your accent.
This could be a good screenshot. Just that. Actually, no. Here's one. Just that. That is funny as shit. That is actually hilarious. Wow. Copious Maximus. Wow. Thank you.
What do you mean, thank you?
Okay. Have we talked about the DeepSeek nonsense today?
Yeah, we have
yes.
talked about it, yes.
You have?
Yeah.
What do you think of the market just fucking crashing because people are so stupid they believe that, you know, they made this thing without H100s?
I think there's a deeper meaning behind it, but realistically, I think that the market correction is inevitable anyways, so this is just one of the signs.
I think either way, we don't know if they made it using H100s or not. Right now, it's like theories, right?
I mean,
But it is very clear from the paper that it is created specifically to be more efficient.
Yeah.
Right? Like a lot of the methods that they were using are methods that are a lot more efficient.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't really use a lot of those methods unless you were trying to be working on more limited resources.
True.
So I don't know. But we did talk to some people that said it wasn't actually far off from a lot of models that exist today in terms of cost. Because like a lot of the models that exist today, so it would cost like $50 million worth of GPUs and $10 million, $5 million worth of training. So like total cost of like 55 million or something, right? Whereas like ChatGPT 4o, 4 costs a lot more, but apparently 4o, like one of the guys was estimating that it would be like 10 million.
That's a lot cheaper.
So yeah, 10 million for the training. So it's like, so it's not like the 100,000x, 100,000x like cheaper costs that people are talking about. Those costs are specifically for buying the GPUs themselves.
Yeah.
The billions of dollars are for buying the GPUs themselves, and
it's quite clear that they had them, right? I mean, they used that to train a model, because otherwise, how would they have such a massive base of information?
Wait, what did you say?
Oh, I said they definitely have those GPUs because they used that to train their thing. You know, I mean, yeah, the model's great.
H100s or the H100s?
Yeah, the H100s. Yeah.
I would be very skeptical of them having H100s.
Well, they would have gotten it through Europe, probably. I mean, the way I look at it is...
I don't know how...
China has the means to buy them. They just do it through shell companies, you know. So you have a shell company in Europe that buys it from, like, another company that buys it from, like, a legitimate company, so... Yeah, but the problem is NVIDIA doesn't even sell them to you, even if you're in Europe. Right. NVIDIA at this point only sells them to like the big companies that place like massive orders. So I would be skeptical that they would have that many H100s. What they probably did was they probably bought like a bunch of other GPUs that weren't under as much control, and they would be like no, not 4090s, like actual like data center ones. Oh, okay, like A6000
H800s. A1000s, things like that. But I'm skeptical that they would have H100s because at this point they're very hard to come by.
What do you think of that guy's statement? I forget, he's some AI guy, is a Chinese dude. He said that they probably have like 50,000 of them. He gave an interview.
No, I don't buy that. I wouldn't doubt that they have 50,000 or 100,000 GPUs, but I doubt they have that many H100s. They probably, I wouldn't doubt that they have the equivalent of 50,000 H100s, but I would be very skeptical that they would have 50,000 H100s.
Right, yeah, okay, that makes more sense. Well, that's what you can do when you have the Chinese government backing you. Yeah. Buy as many GPUs as you want. It doesn't matter if they're H100s, they could literally buy 100,000 of, lesser cards.
But they also are clearly very intelligent, right?
Yeah, they are,
like,
of course.
We were
not diminishing what they did.
Yeah, we were, so these people apparently, they started they have like a hedge fund. And the hedge fund is actually a very successful hedge fund. Like, it's made a shit ton of money, and it's done it purely through AI, right?
Crazy.
So they just took some of the people that have done AI to make money, and they just put them on this project.
Nice.
Right. So when you're talking about like making money in a market, and you're taking one of the most successful quant firms on the planet, right?
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing with AI, right?
Yeah. It's not like they stole it or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and we talked with John, and he said he was trying to do something very specific with CUDA, and none of the models were able to help him with the CUDA problem other than DeepSeek. So not Claude, not ChatGPT, only DeepSeek was able to help him. So at the very least, they're clearly doing something right. And in my experience also, a lot of AIs, especially like if you take Llama, for example, it kind of sucks at other languages. DeepSeek also seems to do much better at other languages as well. So it's kind of like the ideal all-around model, and you actually have to wait. You can run it yourself.
Yeah, runs locally.
Yeah,
that's efficient. Well, that's not good for NVIDIA, for their stock at least.
I think that'll be fine. I think that's kind of overblown. I think that's kind of overblown.
I mean, I think XAI just spent like what, 700 million or something today on more stuff. Yeah. So they don't care about the market.
Yeah, you have to realize that a lot of the GPUs that are being bought now aren't being spent on the current models, like the 4.0s and whatever. They're being spent for future models. Right. So we haven't actually seen the effect of all of those GPUs, the billions and billions of dollars of GPUs. We haven't actually seen the effect of those GPUs. Coming into AI.
Yeah, and the stuff that they're doing with it is going to be more than just LLMs, right? I mean, look at XAI. They're making video games, and that's the plan, right? And pretty sure you're going to need a lot of GPUs for that. Can't just be doing that with 4090s. So the long term looks bullish. Short term, well, people act like idiots in short term.
By the way, Adrian, I need to step out for like an hour. I'll be back.
Shadow of life, water dry.
Something came up. I have to step out for like an hour.
All right,
I'll be back.
Sure.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Who's what?
Oh, it's that guy, right? Dude, I was looking at my server. Like, a new person joins. Like, who the fuck joined? Oh, it's that guy. Yeah, cool.
That guy.
It's Majun. It's our man Majun. It's the guy we spoke to yesterday. Remember? Like we spoke to him.
I wasn't here.
Not you, Bryce. Remember?
Yeah. Oh, he joined.
That was the AI guy.
I heard you deleted your account, or you added people that need deleted them.
It was just me speaking to him. Sorry, I must have forgotten. Yeah.
I don't know.
I was like in a signal call with him. Remember that? Probably weren't there for that either. I got confused. I was like having a chat with Elliot.
Yeah.
That's why we came to the discussion of Stairwell Steve.
Yeah.
Who's Stairwell Steve? What is
Stairwell
Stairwell Steve?
What is Stairwell Steve? It's a crackhead in San Francisco that used to lounge around the stairwell where Elliot was at quite a while, but still is actually. And they described to me how they got rid of him in many ways because the guy's basically a crackhead, and he basically did a whole bunch of things, including throwing all his fucking crack pipes into the fucking stairwell. So they decided, hey, we're gonna fucking clean this thing out, and they decided to just clean the whole place up one day, got a few buckets of stuff, and just washed it all down, bro, dipped before he even got to the point that now there's no more Stairwell Steve. You have to keep Stairwell Steve away from him. That's Stairwell Steve. Stairwell Steve is a crackhead that did crack in the stairwell, their hacker house. So that's cool.
Hey, the fake Scott Bessent account got suspended.
Who the fuck is? Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was using Scott Bessent's name and likeness and pretending to be him. Like his whole profile made him look like him. I thought it was him. I quote tweeted and I said, "Is this actually Scott Bessent's account?" Because it was saying stuff like, the U.S. Treasury will be backed by gold or something. And that's like, okay, that's not very fucking likely. Fuck no. So yeah, it got suspended just now. Nice.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, it should have people do. And, the media's going to write about it. They're going to say, because the blue checkmark system is not, it's been, everyone can buy a blue checkmark now. But the guy didn't have a blue checkmark, though. So that's another thing. That's probably a good thing. But my God.
Yeah, there's no system. It's not a systemic problem necessarily with X, as far as I'm aware. Like the way that people get into places is logging. I think. You can clone sessions perhaps as well. It's one exploit that I've heard, but it's very difficult to do with X. The most common exploit is just a SIM swap, and SIM swaps are when you have say verification. So normally when you want to change something about an account, as login and such, you have verification, right? 2FA, and you have to have that be done through YubiKey and not through something that could be sent via text message. Because the problem with that is, let's imagine you have a provider, you have a service provider, they have a SIM card, and somebody were to call the service provider and say, hey, I am this and this guy, the person who has the account, I've lost my SIM card, can I get a new one? They're supposed to ask for identification at all, but maybe they do something, bribe them somehow, whatever else. They somehow convince them to do without identification. Or they use the identification and it's just fake. Anyways, they then get your SIM card because he's just said that your other one's lost. And that's how then they can log into the account and then basically use the code that's been sent to the SIM card that they now have to unlock it to whatever they want with it. That's what it's called.
Authentication.
That's why hardware stuff is better.
There's a good video about this by Veritasium.
Yes,
Veritasium, he got a couple of freakers, which is what they're called, right? The people who do this, freakers, as a PHREAKERS, as opposed to hackers. And they did to Linus Tech Tips. Yeah. They swapped the SIM. Live on the call, they swapped the SIM. It was how the fuck did you just do that? How did you get my text messages? Yeah, crazy stuff. Right. And it shows how, unsecure two-factor authentication actually is, at least for phones, right? Which is why X no longer uses those, because they realized that's how people were stealing accounts, right? That was a big issue. That's why they switched over to authentication, proper auth software, Google Auth and Authy and so on.
YubiKey is a good one. YubiKey is good for two-factor authentication. Yeah, really good.
Apple has also switched to it. Now Apple generates a code. And so it's just to you only. It's not to anybody else, and that's pretty secure.
Mm-hmm. Highly recommend hardware 2FA.
I really hate phone 2FA because I have a bunch of different phone numbers, and it's a real pain in the butt to swap over to the right SIM card just to get the one thing. And if you forget to pay the bill, or if you're in a different country, you can't access it unless you do the roaming thing. And Amazon is really shit about that, because if you call from a different phone number, you're trying to get a 2FA from a different country, you're just not going to get the number. It's going to block it. So you're basically locked out of your Amazon account, like I was for 2 months. That sucked.
Dang. That sucked.
Yeah, and Amazon is really shitty. It's if you request, you get on a call with one of these guys, and you're gonna have to pay long distance charges, so that sucks too. And you talk to them, and if you can't figure the whole thing out once, they literally delay you by a month. They say call back next month, and we'll try again. That is how stupid it is. They don't. It's an automated system. You can talk to all the tech guys, even the senior tech guys. I got some senior engineer on the phone, and he's like, I literally cannot do anything about this because this is just how the security set up. It sucks.
It's horrible. Try back in a month.
Yep.
I don't even use Amazon anymore.
Siraj wants to come up, Adrian. If you'd like him up.
No. I think
Oh,
we will leave Siraj in the goo.
I didn't see him.
I can see him there.
Ha!
Okay, let nobody up except him and Dauda.
Okay.
You want to do split screen, Hillary? Raise your hand. We'll comment
It's
real
fucking
time.
hilarious. So it's just like I was doing this, and then I'm in like a group chat, and these guys are saying, "I'm cooking rice, I'm cooking rhymes," and this other guy says, "I'm cooking crack with sterile Steve." It's fantastic. What the fuck?
That's funny.
Oh my god.
Hello. Oh, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, I was having some interesting conversations in the other space about Apple security and stuff, and then I think I also heard something along the lines of hardware 2FA. Yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea. I think that's possibly the most secure MFA that we have right now. I use YubiKey.
I use those ones.
Exactly. Yeah, I use YubiKey myself for all the critical apps that I have, including X. Yeah, I would highly recommend anyone to use YubiKey if security is your priority, or even a good 2FA app. That should be much better.
JCLVR wants a shout out.
SMS is really, really bad. I think Adrian, you also mentioned about the SIM swapping attack, right? Yeah, that's that is something I think people should take very seriously. Because this is like.
Guys, always take seriously the security.
The swapping attacks, it's more common than people realize. I was just saying it's more common than people realize.
Ian said there. Wait, what was that?
Can you hear Siraj or not?
I don't think you can hear him.
I can't hear Siraj. Siraj, say something.
Oh,
Drop and come back. I'll bring you back up, Siraj.
yeah, just stop and come back.
Yeah, I can't see what he's saying there.
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, he was explaining how SIM swapping stuff works and how it's not safe, and then you couldn't hear him, so he's got more to say.
And we already covered the SIM swapping thing, however, like we already went through this.
There's also this weird thing with so the way that phone lines are done, because phone lines were made in the 1920s, and they had switching, right? They had what do you call those guys? Switchboard operators back then. That system isn't completely gone. It still exists in the back end, right? So essentially, you can kind of trick any phone system in the world to that's not digitally upgraded to provide you with information you probably shouldn't have, because every phone line, every SIM card is tied to an actual physical line, so to speak.
Really?
You trick it into sending you text messages, and it's pretty easy to get access to that, because a lot of ISPs in developing nations, they don't really have the security, or they sell this information out to hackers, and that's how they gain access to your stuff.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, he can fucking hear you, Siraj.
Okay. Yeah. Adding to what Ian mentioned. So I don't know if the ISPs actually sell our phone numbers or SIM cards directly to the hackers or something, but it's very much possible that the database is already leaked on the dark web. I mean, people give their phone number to so many services at this point, and it's I don't know. I don't exactly blame the users, because most users don't even know this is a security issue, right? But it's I would say the companies and the services should be more responsible with the user data, like how they handle PII phone number, because I mean we use phone number for everything, and especially in the US, even the banking system is kind of broken in terms of security. We still have SMS authentication for banks. Can you believe it? So if
it's dumb.
so if our SIM gets compromised, they can technically get access to the 2FA code.
That's funny.
Chicken Hillary, what are you calling me for? I'm recording on that phone right
I
now.
have like a few banks there, and they switched over from SMS like this year. Starting this year, they're all moving over to digital authentication. No more SMS. They're getting rid of it. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's already the case in the UAE, where pretty much I don't know about all banks, but the ones I deal with here, there's no phone authentication. They actually use the UAE ID, so that's your authentication. you can't fake that shit. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's really secure.
Yeah, I would also like add on updating the apps. So I use X every day, right? So I make sure that my app is updated all the time. Like whenever I wake up, I check.
Make sure it's updated. I check every day for updates.
I'm looking at a video Ian you posted about an hour ago of the dude dancing around with a knife.
Yeah.
Is this guy retarded?
Yeah, he's culturally enriching England.
Oh my! This is the guy who gets.
I don't really understand the context of it, but yeah. My understanding, the context of that video is the guy's literally threatening people, and that's why he's doing that dance with a knife. Yeah, he's like threatening native British people.
If he keeps doing that with a knife like that, like he's moving his hands backwards and forwards, he's gonna literally stab himself in the hand. Like,
I hope so.
I've played around a lot with knives. You're gonna fucking slice some shit up, dude. Like that's legit like that.
What the fuck is he doing? Oh my god, he's just playing.
I mean, not to kind of like educate domestic terrorists or anything. I'm just saying, like.
Okay, so my favorite thing when I watch videos where a guy's carrying a machete is they always scrape it on the ground to threaten people. That's hilarious, They scrape it on the ground because, like, maybe they watch Planet of the Apes or something where the apes do it. And it's like, oh my god, why are you doing this?
It's the thing. They always do that. Like in the Congo and shit, they do that same stuff as well. Try to intimidate people.
God.
Sometimes it works. I mean, fuck.
It's scary as hell, but, there's a video of a police officer, I think it's in maybe China, where some guy was doing that with a machete, like some foreigner was doing it, and he got tackled immediately. The cops just jumped on him. They didn't care. They're like, yeah, let's scrape the ground, asshole.
Similar, where like they slapped it on the ground and then somebody ran this bitch over with a car. Like,
nice. Don't fuck with Chinese cops. They know judo.
oh yeah.
Their training is really they make British cops at least look really pathetic. American cops don't fuck around. They'll just pull a gun, just shoot you. That works. I mean, if you're part of a good department like NYPD or something, well trained. Not so much if you're from like some small town. I don't think they get that kind of training.
Mm.
Like you can tell who the good, the properly trained cops are. State troopers, pretty well trained. Like Florida state troopers, pretty awesome dudes. New York, NYPD, LAPD. The guys in Atlanta. Oh yeah, those guys don't fuck around. Also Portland. The thing about Portland cops, right? They know how to do their business. The problem is they have their hands tied behind their backs. So, because the city doesn't like them very much. City's, pro Antifa and all that. But I remember when, before 2020, right? This was like maybe 2016 or something when the city wasn't completely fucked up. There are lots of videos in Portland where the cops are just like, doing their jobs and really good at it too.
Let's do that. Yeah, but
I mean, one of the biggest problems is when
works for me.
when movements where say defund the police, and then there's like this natural animosity that's being drummed up against police. And that causes a lot of problems because it goes both ways. You know, if there's like a person and you're doing your job, and then you're just pulling them over, and immediately someone is starting to rattle off a whole bunch of bullshit. And you're like, I don't even know what you're trying to do here. I'm giving you a speeding ticket because you went 20 over. Like, you know, you can contest it like after the fact. You don't contest it with me. I'm not the judge, jury, or executioner. I can't deal with any of that shit. Okay. And then that they place on the top over and over again. Then eventually, bro snaps. Like, you know, that's kind of what that looks like. And Germany's a shit show. It's like you have Germany is different, where like you have police. They do their job, of course. There's sometimes they do weird things, like they enforce stuff improperly. Like, oh hey, we found this little Victorinox, which is Swiss Army knife, by the way. Swiss Army knives are called Victorinox. It's the company that manufactures them, the OG ones. You have a little Victorinox blade in your handbag. It's an elderly woman has a little Victorinox blade in her handbag. That guy gets enforced against, but keeping the barriers up before a dude plows into that same market.
Like, I remember that. Yeah, it was the same market where they were searching people's handbags for knives, and they arrested some old lady.
I couldn't believe it. Like, I posted about it. Even though I saw this, I was like, "What the fuck? That's insane." That same fucking police, dude.
Yep. Same place, same Christmas market. Yep. They arrested some old lady who had a Victorinox knife in her handbag.
And then fucking knife. They just took her fucking knife, dude, because it's like dangerous, apparently. What? Old lady with the fucking Victorinox. Like, you're gonna fucking stab someone, you're gonna die before you can get the thing unhinged. Like, bro, what are you talking about? How is that to anyone? And then 2 days later, when Terrence Howard, like, barrels through everyone. That's it. Yep. And you know what's the most fucked up thing is no one's talking about it. You know, we are talking about it, but nobody else is. Like, the German media has completely ignored it, pretending it doesn't happen. And then you have these fucking leftists out there every single night now, you know, talking about how refugees are welcome. And they're speaking in English, which is really interesting. I find that very interesting. The fact that they're speaking in English, right? They're all chanting in English, like, hey ho, what, you know, refugees are here to stay or some bullshit. You know, I don't know their exact chant, but you get the gist. And it's like, you realize a child was just stabbed to death, and, you know, weeks before, a bunch of people run over, and you guys are talking about how refugees are welcome here, and you have tens of thousands of you out there. What is wrong with you? And it's funny because, like, when it came to that,
you should just join the Clubhouse room, Hillary. Then we can do live commentary on Clubhouse.
Like, oh no protests. Yeah.
I can't do it through my phone because I record the hard copy.
Like fucking climate change and their failed understanding of it. It's like, bruh. By the way, I'm not one of those people who say that it doesn't exist. I in fact do say it exists, and I highly agree with the fact that it does. I just think that the assertion that humans are the ones that are causing the climate to change in the way that it has been defined is fundamentally incorrect. And that the notion that our temperatures are fluctuating as much as they are because of this human intervention is absolute hogwash, and is actually more explainable when it comes to the natural cycle of the Earth that it just goes through. We're going to actually see temperature go up a lot more, actually not even that much more, and then eventually collapse again. This has happened.
There's a middle warming period, a little ice age. Mini ice age. This stuff has happened before. It's cyclical, right? And not only that, I mean, there's the change in geography. People seem to forget about that part. They forget that, like, why are there fires in certain parts of Australia or Los Angeles, right? Well, pretty simple, because they don't have fire breaks. That's kind of a big deal. You didn't have fires 10 years ago because they allowed fire breaks back then. And then environmental protocols came in and they're like, yeah, no more fire breaks.
And they had controlled burning. They used to do controlled burns. And then they realized, oh wow, we have to stop it because otherwise the forest burns too much. Now the forest burns anyways and causes property damage. Before it burned a little bit, not all the way to the ground, and there was no property damage. This time, it burnt all the way to the ground, completely got decimated, and burnt everything to the ground. It was all so, goddamn, son.
Yeah. And also, there's the arsonist problem, which not a lot of people are willing to talk about because it'll get reported.
This
like,
is
in a few
the
weeks,
X-room
where
Hillary
5
chicken.
people or 10 people have been arrested.
Yeah, you had a bunch of crackheads that were setting fire to random shit. Like, at least the citizens,
I mean,
good on them. They fucking stood up for themselves and, like, stopped some of the fucking people from committing this act. Like, damn, dude. Incredible.
Fucking. Remember the fires that were happening all across the Pacific Northwest a couple of years ago?
Yep.
And all the way to Canada, right? And if you look at what actually happened, like afterwards, they arrested a bunch of arsonists. There were a bunch of environmental activists who were setting fires. That was what was happening. The same thing in Australia, where the bushfires a few years ago ravaged the Sydney or something. Those were arsonists. They're the ones setting the fires. And a lot of them happen to be climate activists. Like ELF, for example, the Environmental Liberation Front in the U.S. They are, pretty much responsible. Like before, they used to spike trees, right, with like blades and stuff and rivets, so that way, people would get hurt when they're cutting down the trees. And now they're setting fires. And these guys are, they all need to be arrested. And for a while, they were. And Biden comes in and he actually puts like their fucking members there in part of as part of the Department of the Interior. It's like, oh great, so you literally have these fucking terrorists working for you. That's cool. But again, that's not something the media likes to talk about.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, hey, we have this amazing solution. Oh, nice, yeah. We have this amazing solution that's called, you got the electric car, right? That's being manufactured completely in line with what these, climate activists would actually want, right? They'd want for a transition to sustainable energy to occur. And I think that if customers, were to buy vehicles that actually work, like Tesla's actually pretty good, then the demand for energies such as those, like just electrical energy sourced renewably or via nuclear, would go up. And that's good. That's a very good thing. It's a great sign. No, what they're going to do is they're going to target the Gigafactory specifically and burn down the power supply. And because you're already worthless to the fucking economy and society at large, you organize as an entire army to then march on a place where people are actually working just because you're idiots. You're nothing. You're not special. You're just a bunch of clueless people who don't understand how the world works, thinking that you are contributing to some sort of great cause by damaging someone else's property and putting actual people who work hard for their living because you don't get to live off of the benefits that other people are generating for you, lazy fucks. You're living off the same benefits. You don't understand what you understand. These people you're not putting out of a job. Congrats. You're peak
Sabotage factories too. Like in the UK, they sabotage factories.
You know how controversial this is? I will never be any kind of presence in Germany because of what I just said. Because it's such a controversial term. Like it's such a controversial thing to actually talk about that you just get cancelled if you try to discuss this in Germany.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
So,
I get to talk about
Adrian,
it because it's a big issue. I see it, and I think people should be very well aware of it. And I think people should get used to calling these people what they are. Absolute fucking idiots. And I would hope there would be actual enforcement of law to the point that these people don't see fucking daylight again for the next 20 years if they pull a ratchet like this. Because what the fuck is wrong with these people?
It's the same thing as just stop oil people. They go to
same shit. You fucking put yourself to the road, off the road, 20 years jail, put you to work in there.
Yep.
They're gonna stop. Instantly, that shit's never gonna happen. You want to have fun?
I hate the ones who
energy?
deface
Go to work.
museums.
Do you
Yeah. They go to a museum destroy the paintings, scratch it up, throw paint on it, and then what does the security do? They just watch them. They let the media be there, taking photos of them, doing their fucking press coverage. Like, are you kidding? Just arrest them. How hard is it? Like, you wouldn't let anybody else do it. Why the fuck do these guys get special privileges where they walk behind a Van Gogh or something, or in front of it, and then screw themselves to it?
Spain did proper signaling there, I think, in my opinion. When they had that thing happen. Remember that clip that came out from Spain?
No. Can you refresh my memory?
This is go look it up. The Stop Oil Spain clip. It's very controversial. That one.
I know that clip. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a proper signal.
What did they do?
Deterred any Stop Oil protests being at all present in places like Spain because of this.
I'm gonna look it up.
Adrian, I don't know if you have heard about this, but
It's counter signaling, you see.
mainstream.
When one party virtue signals so hard with the attempt of gaslighting the unswayed mind, you have to counter signal as well. Albeit, of course, at some personal cost, of course.
Did you see that last year they defaced the Stonehenge?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I remember that. They didn't really deface it as much. What they did was they took colors and such that they could wash off easily. Because if they did damage the lichen, they damaged the fucking lichen on it. Yeah, that would be the only downside. The lichen was a bit damaged. I don't think it was that bad. Like, honestly, I'm not sure what the lichen really contributed there as much. I mean, perhaps something to the stability. I don't know. But that was like the only damage that was actually caused.
Oh, you mean in Spain as in like the floods, right? That's what you're talking about?
No.
Are you talking about the flooding?
There was a video clip. No, here.
Yeah, send it to me. I love how Spain bragged about getting rid of all its dams. That was really smart.
Oh, the clip was. It's been buried recently. It's fucking.
Right, who needs hydropower?
Hydropower is pretty good.
It is. Hydropower is awesome, man. I mean, who needs stopping your cities and getting flooded and killing thousands of people? I mean, who cares
It's
about
so
that?
stupid. Like, hey, make the rivers. That whole thing, the floods, by the way, that has nothing to do with climate change whatsoever. It's complete hogwash. What it has to do with is the fact that they destroyed the Roman aqueducts because they said that the rivers should flow freely. Good idea.
Why should the rivers flow
where there is places where there's now settlement, right? You know, the trenches of the valley. That used to be where the rivers would go along. So if you were to say, let the rivers flow freely, if you were to then take away the aqueducts that prevent the rivers from flowing there, doesn't that mean that all the infrastructure that's been built there is then become river?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's just how rivers work. Bureaucratic, nonsensical, waste of fucking space thought, hey, we're gonna overlook this very obvious geological blunder and just give them the approval. Which fucking idiot overlooked this? I would love to know.
And the way rivers work, like they carve down from wide to narrow and they create a floodplain. And then people who are idiots build on those floodplains. And when you get like 100-year flood or even a 50-year flood, like you lose a lot of the infrastructure that you've built on that area. Like I've seen farms totally fucking flattened and destroyed and they had to retill the land and everything. From a 100-year flood. I mean, it wiped out so many bridges and like literally stop signs like buried with water, just like crazy stuff. Whole towns like partially underwater. And the only way to prevent that is to control where the rivers go, to manage floodplains, and to not fucking build on them.
You know what the worst part is? It's like I'm just like Googling, just not Googling, but looking at Twitter search Spain, quote, just stop oil, end quote, right? And all these people are talking about the floods and they're saying, here's one that pissed me off. It says, no, but just stop oil and Extinction Rebellion actors are a real enemy here, surely. Spain's deadly floods in decades. 95 dead is more extreme rate approaches. It's like, people are doubling down on fucking climate activism when climate activism is literally the reason why there's fucking floods there. Make it make sense.
Just to add to what Adrian mentioned earlier about Tesla, so the mainstream tech media is also broken. So I actually read a news headline that said Flipper Zero hacked the Tesla. So my expectation was, oh wow, something super interesting. But then it was literally just able to open the charging port. That's not hacking, right?
Yeah.
But so many users were they were misled by all these mainstream tech media, and it's a problem. I would rather follow someone who actually does research on this stuff.
Richard. I just quote tweeted just Stop Oil. I can't believe they're like saying that this flooding is caused by climate change. Man, fuck them. 51 dead in Spain so far due to flooding. Our future is fire, flooding, and famine unless we just stop oil.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's their fault. But they won't take responsibility. They're like, oh, we gotta stop climate change. Climate change is why it's flooding. No, you stupid fucks. It's not. It's literally not.
Yeah, there's no way.
The Just Stop Oil idiots should probably stop using anything that also is somehow contributing to oil being used. Like, for instance, those containers in which you have your color that you're going to use to deface other people's property, not your own, because you're never going to do anything constructive. Like, that needs to be made out of something else other than polymer, right? Because that's from oil. Your shirts are probably mixed with various types of materials that allow them to stretch, because that's what we're putting into our clothes right now, probably polyester and various other things as well. You're going to have to stop wearing that because that's made out of oil. The stuff that you put into your hair, there's something involved in this as well, like a lot of the machinery that is used to manufacture this, as well as the container that it came in, that I can guarantee you also used oil to do so. So a lot of things would have to change about these people. These people would have to go there in like clothes made from natural fibers, or they'd have to go naked. So choose. It should start with you.
Adrian, they should wear hair shirts, okay? Because that's what they look like. That's
I mean, you
crazy.
can wear wool. That's a hair shirt.
Yeah, but what about the machines used to? Yeah, what about the machines that we use to weave the wool together? Though that uses oil.
Oh yeah.
Everything about it. Cleaning it requires oil. Like just does. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever be able to fully move away from oil. It's a useful substance.
Yeah.
And it comes in many
moving away
forms,
from aluminum.
different grades, and I think that we just need it, like for machinery, and unless there's some sort of alternate lubricant that would actually work like oil does, but I don't think that exists.
We could always switch back to animal fats. I mean, would they prefer that? Because
let's use beef tallow. I think Adrian's down.
Like we used to, for instance, with watches, right? Like, so watches need to be lubricated, right? Now we use synthetic oils. They're very good. They last forever. They don't degrade, right? At least they don't degrade over a period of years. They degrade over a period of centuries, which is awesome. We could go back to using whale oil for those, like, well, let's take ambergris, and use that to fucking lubricate our watches again. I don't know if ambergris was actually used for that, but, you get the idea. Like, there are very specific oils that we use in lubricating small pieces of machinery or even large pieces of machinery that you have to get from specific animals because of the cellulose content or whatever that comes with it, right? Can't really do that if we don't kill animals. Now, fortunately, now we can not kill animals and we can just synthesize the whole thing. But they're telling us we can't synthesize it because you're going to just stop oil. Okay, let's go back to killing whales then. See how that works.
Yeah.
Using kerosene or gasoline. Let's go back to whale oil. To heat our lamps like we used to in like the 1800s. That'll be nice.
Yeah. So oil itself, we need it for everything. It's like it's not like specifically the burning of hydrocarbons part is the use case, of course, that's quite major. But at the same time, like we're using it for everything else also.
Yeah.
You can't.
I mean, when are we going to switch back to
soft oil?
Yeah. Like, you know, burning oil. Oil is good because it's efficient. What's the alternative? I mean, they're saying don't use coal either, right? So what? We burn peat? Peat is worse. It produces way more methane when we burn it, right? And it's not particularly efficient. That's why we don't use it anymore. Because you could burn peat. Technically, you just dry it out and then you burn it, right? Because it's all bio waste, right? Biofuels. But it's not particularly efficient. But that's what they want us to move back to. And what would the world look like if all we did was harvest peat? Probably not very clean, for one. It's carcinogenic. Not great. And like, I don't mean carcinogenic in the sense that oil is also kind of carcinogenic, but you know, it's just the energy content, the calorie content. The caloric content is so low compared to coal or fuel, like proper fuel.
Okay, never mind.
Yes, imbeciles. These people don't understand efficiency. You know, they talk about just stopping oil, but the reason we use oil in the first place is because it's so efficient. If there were better alternatives, we'd use them, but they're not efficient, and they're worse. They produce more pollution, more waste. Like, try burning peat inside of a living room. See how that works out for you, as opposed to coal. Elon just liked the Englishman practices his cultural enrichment techniques video.
Yeah. Actually, I mean that's the guy who shows you what directions now. Hey, excuse me, can you show me your directions? Stop. It's like the London meme. It's been like this for years now, of course, but yeah, it's recently really, really upscaled massively.
Cultural enrichment techniques, love it.
Yeah, oil's still used in a lot of things, and it will be for a very long period of time.
We never will stop using it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, if you try to stop using it, it will become exceedingly expensive to use it. And you don't really want that either, because that's going to drive up prices for things where prices should go down. Because you look at all these components, they're like, oh wow, you know, I need this, I need that, and that. Oh, I need my fucking 3D printing. Like, what is the 3D printing with? I was using plastic. Oil. Yeah. I was using metal to do that, and like
Fertilizer uses the oil, you know? Okay, so I just asked Grok just for fun, you know, here's a list of things that use oil. Fuel for cars, diesel for trucks, jet fuel for airplanes, heating oil for homes, lubricants for machinery, grease for bearings, hydraulic fluids, transmission fluid, engine oil, petrochemical feedstock, plastic production, rubber, fertilizers, pesticides, detergents, solvents, adhesives, paint, ink, asphalt for roads, roofing tar, paraffin for candles, cosmetics, perfumes, shampoos, soaps, pharmaceuticals, antifreeze, coolants, plastic bags, food packaging, PVC pipes, synthetic fibers like polyester, nylon, lubricating oil for bicycles, chain oil, gear oil, cutting oil for metal working, transformer oil, electrical insulation. Yeah, you need that because, you know, the fucking thing uses PVC, right? And rubber. Refrigeration oil, textile dyes, photographic film, vinyl flooring, toys, medical equipment, golf ball, balloons, and it just, you know, you could literally make a list of 5,000 things, honestly. A million things. Everything uses oil. Like, literally everything we use, I mean, uses oil in some form. Whether it's the machinery that makes it, or the material itself somehow involves it, or the cleaning process, just... I mean, adhesives, like, okay, so are all our houses just going to fall down because we banned oil? I mean, yeah, they are, because you need oil. You won't have electricity without oil. And I don't just mean burning it. I mean, like, fucking electrical wiring, you know? First you got to process the copper, and then you got to put it in wiring, and that all needs oil. Like, what are you going to make wires out of? Like the insulation. There's no other material.
Yeah, there's no way to just stop oil. Like, it's gonna take a long time. Like, if they wanted to do
No,
that.
like we've got to go back to the Stone Age.
Yeah.
If you just stop oil, you're literally going back to the Stone Age. That's what these people want. So when they do their Extinction Rebellion, they're actually calling for the extinction of humanity.
Oh my god.
Jim Cramer says you should own Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a great thing to have in your portfolio. Fuck you, Kramer. Why? Oh no, it's not even wrong.
Everybody's gonna inverse the Kramer. What if
All right,
Kramer's
everybody go
inverse?
check the BTC. Let's see what the BTC does. It's still holding, but last time I checked, it was like at 108. It's still at 102, so that's okay.
Wait, it went back up because it went back down to like fucking 98 for a while, and I guess.
Oh yeah, no, it went back to like a K over.
Yeah.
Like 100 K over.
Good.
I think it peaked at around like 108K actually. Last I checked was 108K.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about me. I never sell that shit.
You know, if you read
109K, 109,356.
of Extinction Rebellion, he outlines how the goal is to make humanity extinct. They're not even hiding it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the way they market it is different. The way they're marketing it is the opposite. It's the reverse. So they're saying, we're saving humanity. No, you're not. Your goal is to depopulate the planet. That is literally your founding mission, is to depopulate the earth of humanity. These people are scum. They are anti-human terrorists, is what they are, and they belong in jail.
Look, dude, if you sabotage infrastructure, like that's gonna be a problem.
Oh yeah. We need that infrastructure. Yeah, we do. Like, even if you're we live in a society like overthrow.
We live in a society.
The end of
It's
it.
a society that's fucked. It's incredible, and people believe that their cars run off of unicorn urine. It's a big problem. Mental health needs to be brought back, but we never had good psychiatry. It never worked, because that's why we still have these people. If it would have worked, we never would have had these people. There wouldn't be so many of them. I would even say it made it worse.
It's actually true. I believe so. I think the whole mental health therapy bullshit made everything infinitely worse. Like, there's no way to prove it that it actually worked. You get people, you psyop them into thinking about themselves, and then the realization that they themselves came to is then therapy. There's a word for this. There's a word for this. It's called thinking. Like, you're already doing it, and now you're paying someone else who has a more fucked life than you to tell you how to think.
It's like
We are mentally insane, huh?
Yeah. Think for yourself.
That is mentally ill.
Reading
Holy shit.
self-help books by paupers. You know, I always wonder about, people who call themselves numerologists or self-help gurus. Why is it that they're not billionaires? If you're a billionaire, you're giving that advice, okay, maybe I'm inclined to listen to you. But if you are giving advice and you're like this morbidly obese fat fuck and you're telling people how to get fit, I'm not going to listen to you.
Dude, 100%. Exactly. It's the same reason why, like, health ministers have this very specific issue. Why is it that you're a health minister, but you're not actually healthy? Like, how can you be the minister of something that you're not? Explain. Conceptually, how that's supposed to work out. I could be a health minister and I'd still be healthy. Like, huh? It's like a minister of agriculture that has never toiled the field or doesn't know how to grow anything. Same shit. Those do exist. Ministry of Energy that thinks that wind turbines are the future. Especially in Germany.
A finance minister of
That's what we're gonna pull that fucking dog shit. It's German IRL satire. That's what that shit is. Feel wind turbines.
Financing the literal
Where's
communists.
the Ministry of Slippery Paranoid Motherfuckers? That's what I want to know.
Dude, 100%, man. Slippery paranoid motherfucker.
Alright.
You should see
You should see the UK's treasurer. She's a literal communist.
Wow, that's incredible.
She's got like a photo of Lenin. Yeah, Lenin in her fucking her chamber. That's insane.
Wild.
What did I miss? What did I miss?
And they call the right wingers Russian propagandists. Wild.
Oh yeah, apparently Labour is also allowing the construction of like a super giant like Chinese embassy in London.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
Yeah.
Might as well sell it to them.
It's sold out.
Yeah. What did I?
We're talking about like just stop oil and how much of a bullshit.
We were ripping into climate change activists.
Yeah, they're just stopping traffic. That's all really they're stopping.
And also, health minister's not paying health.
I was to talk about how therapy doesn't work. So I was like, dude, you're paying somebody else to think for you. Someone who's more fucked than you are. You're paying them to think for you. It's like that is mentally ill. Like if you really believe that that's gonna help you, you really are ill. Holy shit.
Well, and not only that, when you're doing it, you're creating a record that makes you less reliable in the future. Like, if you have a record of mental health issues, like, you're going to be a less reliable witness. You're going to be less believable just in general. Like, anybody who knows is going to automatically count that against you if you observe something that is out of the ordinary. They'll think, you're just having mental health issues. So you got to be really careful about when, where, why, and how you seek mental health care.
Also, as you guys know, as I've said before in the past, I have dated people that are psychologists, and they are the most mentally insane people on earth, mentally unwell people on earth. So I do not fucking trust those people to the people that are the most unwell on earth to make you mentally well. It's like a coping. The entirety of psychology, the entirety of like these psychologists and the people that sit around and talk to you is literally just cope. They're like it's because they think, okay, I'm mentally unwell, so I'm gonna go study this thing, and then I'm gonna help other people get mentally well. It's literally a fucking cope.
Yep. God damn. It's come to my attention. There's
a minister of science who thinks the earth is flat.
Oh, yeah.
It has come to my attention.
What's come to your attention?
It's come to my attention that a bunch of people are talking about getting shadow banned again. I'm like, the what?
That's bullshit.
Yeah, that is bullshit.
They have like 1 million views on their post.
Yeah, I know, right?
El Normo!
See, if it breaks over 1,000, I'm going in there and I'm bashing everybody. Like, that's happening.
It's funny, the people who talk about being shadow banned the most, they get the most views.
I know, right? It's insane.
And I've been shadow banned, 2 million views. Really? Do tell.
Yeah.
How are you being shadow banned exactly when 2 million people saw your post complaining about being shadow banned? How does that work?
Probably.
I don't know what you feel entitled to. It's just it's an engagement technique. Like, hey guys, can anyone see this post? I'm just testing something. I think I've been shadow banned, guys. Yeah, sure. You just want people to reply to you, so that way your posts always appear on their timeline. That's it. That's literally it.
Literally one word stuff. It's like orbital.
And then you have the people who all they do is complain about being shadow banned, and they wonder why do we like so little.
Exactly. Because at some point people look at it and go,
expand on that and bring somebody else in.
we've heard this story. We are
what
tired.
I was afraid of when I
We
was
are
doing my
tired of it now. I'm gonna let that sit. I'm gonna let that sit. Nothing's gonna happen there. I'm gonna wait. If that space goes over 1,000 listeners, I'm gonna go in there and raise some hell. Like fuck that shit.
I don't have to sit there.
Simp content, and it's going to be basically selfie content where these girls realize that, hey, all I have to do is post selfies and a stupid caption, and I'll get.
I know who's doing it as well. I'm looking at their posts. 30 minutes ago, post something. That's 30,000 impressions. I'm like, bro, you're getting 1,000 impressions per minute. Excuse me? Wait a minute. And then your previous post from like 2-3 hours ago have like 1,000 likes on it. Your impressions like 40,000. My bro, this is what I want. What do you like? What I want more engagement also, but like you don't hear me complain about on the timeline about things because I'm like too busy. I have to think of things that people actually want to, look at. Yeah.
Oh my God, Suraj knows about Victor Blaine. Do you know who Victor Blaine is, Adrian?
Actually, explain to the crowd who Victor Blaine is.
Do you know?
Partially, yes.
Who is he?
I said partially. I know the name, I recognize it, but I forgot what it was about. But do explain.
It'd be better if I let the video explain it.
I'm rating you. You are a terrible therapist. I'm rating you 0 stars.
Want a cookie or something? This is Dr. Victor Blaine, a licensed therapist with a 0-star rating. Which he claims is because he refuses to lie to his clients.
Everyone's always saying
people that really matter, you're not going to see them as much.
what's the difference between the list and just your following tab? Because when you go to your feed, there's the For You and the following option. What's the difference between the list and the following option?
So if you follow like 500, 600 people, whatever, a lot of times you'll follow somebody because you like them a little bit or you know them in real life. You don't necessarily want to see all your tweets. A list is, you know, you're putting together, these are the accounts I want to see, and it's chronological and it's more curated. Like if you're following tab, you know, everybody you follow, you don't necessarily want to see all of their tweets. So a list is a better version of that.
Okay. I've never built a list. I've seen that. I see myself getting added to lists, but I've never utilized that.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet. I'll pin mine to the space here.
Well, that's one way to address it at a personal level, but that doesn't really address it kind of at the larger level. I would.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, but you know, for user intent, I think that could help. Kind of view on the user end. All right, I want to bring in 1 second here, I want to bring in Robert Seffer, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but we're going to have you in a second. But Laura, did you have something you wanted to add? It looked like you wanted to add something here.
I was going to say that something that makes this even more nefarious is the fact that X seems to have no customer service, or they sent out an internal memo directing people to just ignore people like us. Because I've had some conversations with some ex-employees who are aware of what's happening, like the American ex-employees, right? I'm not talking about the H-1B ones, but some prominent American ex-employees who we all know from being in spaces with them. I've emailed some of them, and I've also DM'd some of them, and they're like, oh, well, let me see. And then it's just goes radio silent. And then you say, hey, just following up, did you ever hear back about my account? And so it's almost like they're either scared to reply because of retaliation from their boss, or maybe they have been instructed not to tell us what's going on. Because I don't understand how you can have 1.4 million followers and message X and also, you know, have this be the subject of multiple mainstream media reports, all the way to the point where, you know, they're doing an entire segment about it on CNN. and then nobody from X replies. Like generally you'd have somebody in PR or support reach out and say, oh, hi, I work for X. Tell me what's going on with your account. So they could at least pretend like they care or pretend like they're not shadow banning us, but there's no response. And so how can we not assume that we're being shadow banned when we're being respectful, we're reaching out?
We shouldn't even have to rely on that. Everything should be open source, and which Elon Musk agrees with. He said so much today, but everything should be open source, and it should be a level playing field. It should be a level playing field. Nobody should be getting special attention to be boosted. Nobody should be getting special attention to be deboosted. It should truly be a level playing field, but obviously we don't have that, and X doesn't deny that that's the case. They say freedom of speech is not freedom of reach, and they talk about boosting positive content versus negative content. So obviously it's not a level playing field. Anybody that says it is, well, then you're not even listening to the people that run X. So you're just coping with the reality that, X is not an equal playing field. They don't even deny it. All right, quickly, Maria, you wanted to add something, and then I want to go to Robert.
Yeah, I'm so sorry because I've just arrived at my destination. I hate to be that person that joins and leaves, but I just wanted to say this. There is an example of, because we all say, and it would be very naive to think that Elon is watching every single tweet, right? Like, that's just impossible. But there was an example during the H-1B debate of a gentleman named Tom Hennessy. I wasn't even following him prior to that. And he ratioed Elon, and the immediate response just a few short hours later was that his blue check mark was removed, and of course his account's been impacted since. I think he's got his blue check mark back, but it seems to be a permanent stain on your account, if you will, if it's been taken away. And so my point is that arbitrary punishment is happening. Obviously, we also saw that recently with the gaming community. There was a gamer that was, challenging Musk. His blue check mark got taken away. So it is actually a target. We have examples of targeted attacks on people who criticize Elon Musk, and we should be aware of that, and we should be aware that is occurring. A CBS employee was just fired for criticizing Musk on her personal social media. So, I mean, now we're at the point.
Didn't she call him a Nazi?
She did, but it was her personal social media. How many times have libs, criticized Trump on their personal social medias? They don't get fired. So I do have concerns, Owen, with what we're seeing. There is a collective punishment that's happening around Musk's critics, and people should be aware of it. We should keep talking about it and not be afraid. Like you said, you risk being even more censored if you speak up, but we have to.
That's the key. You just said it right there, and I'm glad you could join us tonight. Don't worry about having to bail out. Everybody's busy. It's good we can hop on these spaces and hop out, but that's the key right there, is fear.
Yeah.
If people are afraid of saying or doing whatever the wrong thing on X is, then I think that tells you a lot. And we're not talking about people that just post trash content, inappropriate content. In fact, if you do, this is my biggest bugaboo of the whole thing. This is my biggest bugaboo. If you actually do adult content, we all know what I'm talking about. If you actually do adult content, even hardcore content, you will not be censored. And you can spam your ass all over X, all over the most popular posts. You can get into political posts and rig the algorithm, and you will not be punished. You get rewarded. All of those accounts get massive boosting. And it's just because they know how to spam and beat the
true. I can't even tell you how many times I've logged on to Twitter and I have that girl Bonnie Blue. You know that girl that basically lets guys come all over her face and screws 1,000 dudes a day. I don't even know. There's a team of them, Lily and Bonnie, I guess their names are. I log on to X sometimes. I don't even follow them, and I just